Oh my God, my gorgeous Pisces, something really beautiful, something so gorgeous. It's about to happen to you. All I can say to you, you're gonna find this absolutely rewarding like nothing before, because it's going to happen in such a way and at such a time where, trust me, you absolutely least expected this. This is absolutely brilliant. Even more so at the beginning of this week, you see, you are going to be worrying about something, nothing major. You may feel just a little bit like kind of negative or a little bit down, only because you're going to be thinking about a certain aspect of your life, and you're going to be thinking about the fact how maybe certain things are taking too long to kind of happen and to unfold in order for you to find yourself on the path which is going to bring so much abundance and so much into your life, so much happiness and optimism into your life. So it's going to start like just the beginning, like you are going to feel a little bit deep, a little bit down, just a little bit negative, and then boom, 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 bam, 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 this news, message, information which you're going to find so rewarding. You are going to realize something about yourself you've never realized before, how powerful you are, and you're in terms of passion, and also most importantly, you're going to be able to connect to the certain aspect of your life you never connected to before. And this means only one thing, that one cycle has come to an end. Whenever one cycle comes to an end, a new cycle is about to begin. And even more so, what is happening right now, you're breaking some kind of a cycle that has brought so much negativity and something really, really negative. Now, you're breaking some kind of a negative phase. You're coming out of some kind of a negative phase that really affected you for a while now. So you feeling just a little bit negative, you need to understand this is actually a really good thing, and it's a really good sign that bloody negative phase, it's about to come to an end. And this is also going to be a clear indication and a sign that you are going to get very soon a news and information and message which you're going to find so rewarding. You're going to feel so happy. You will know exactly what you're going to do, and at the same time this is going to bring so much of like an emotional stability when it comes to you. Just what I can say to you, my gorgeous Pisces, most certainly you are ascending the mountain right now, and keep going forward, and keep going forward. Even more so, you are going to find yourself feeling so happy after this news, information and message that you're going to have. This is going to open so many doors to so many different opportunities you never knew existed, let alone the connection that you're gonna feel right now. Each connection you feel to each possibility you come across at the beginning of this week, each connection has got a specific role when it comes to healing like a certain ailment within your body, which is by the end of this week gonna make you feel so re-energized. The energy you're gonna have, it's gonna be completely out of this world, so make the most of it. This energy is going to be guiding you towards what you should be doing, and most importantly what you shouldn't be doing at this stage of your spiritual journey. So at the beginning of this week, my gorgeous Pisces, you are, and after that, this is going to put you in such a good mood. So many realizations you are going to have, and this in itself, within your mind, within your spirit, within your dimension, you need to understand that within yourself, this is going to take you somewhere else. You're going to tap into something else right now, because after that, at the beginning of this week, you will be very creative, and you're going to find yourself working on something so good, something that makes you feel so good about yourself. It could be anything, you know what I mean? Like maybe a painter, and then you're going to be painting and enjoying yourself. Maybe you do sculptures and you're going to be doing some kind of sculptures. Maybe you like cleaning even, and you're going to be cleaning your house and really enjoying yourself. But whatever we do, when we are also at the same time so enjoying ourselves and we become very creative, we do a kind of we do kind of like a really create this very kind of unique and powerful vibration and energy, which on another hand and another note again help us to tap into the dimension that we tap into like literally every now and then, every couple of years, maybe once a year, maybe every few years. This is going to be a very sacred moment here right now, because you're going to find yourself working on something and you're going to feel very, very creative. And when that happens, as I said, we kind of create a very special energy, which does a kind of makes us aware of certain things in such a way where we open up spiritually and we kind of gain this insight into the certain problems that have been kind of affecting us for absolute ages, and we just didn't know what to do. And so you are going to be working on something that you're gonna feel extremely creative with, and then it's gonna come to you this kind of realization suddenly, this extra responsibility, something that you had to deal with for the last 10 months, quite a long time. You had to deal with this particular extra responsibility that affected you so much, and it made everything so much more annoying for you than it shouldn't have been, because it was affecting your energy, it was affecting your vibration, it was affecting your balance, my gorgeous Pisces. So this is why this is so important. So now suddenly, at the moment in time when you feel so ridiculously creative about something, you're just going to be thinking about so many different things, and then suddenly, boom, it's this like kind of extra responsibility that you've ended up with for so long, and it affected you. It made everything so much more difficult for you, almost as if you were like for so long, like with the hands behind your back, you didn't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? So now suddenly you will know what to do with this extra responsibility, what to do. And the reason why, it's because that extra responsibility has come to the actual completion with itself. So you're going to become very, very determined, and it's going to be on your mind how you're going to get rid of, or what exactly do you need to do when it comes to that extra responsibility. It is a lot about your determination, it's a lot about you feeling strong, it's a lot about you feeling brave to make the certain move. But let me tell you, what you're doing right now, it's gonna be incredible. Listen to me very carefully, because that bloody extra responsibility was preventing you from you achieving something absolutely ultimate when it comes to your spiritual journey. So then and there, you're already planting a spiritual seed, and in as little as 10 months time, in 10 months time, your life is going to change. In 10 months time, you are going to be enjoying things on a completely different level, okay, in terms of luxury and in terms of the actual lifestyle. Like, oh my God, my gorgeous Pisces, what's happening right now? It's actually going to open you up, and it's gonna plant a spiritual seed which is going to lead towards like one of the biggest successes and achievements of your life. Look at this, look at this, you see this? This is what it is after that. This is why this is so important. So it's all going to start, it's all going to stem as soon as you kind of realize what this extra responsibility is that became absolutely massive, giant, dark, like a burden as well. And this particular responsibility has come to an end by itself, karmically. So you know what I mean? The reason why it's already spiritual seed planted at that moment in time, as soon as you know what to do with this extra responsibility, at that moment in time, you will plant the spiritual seed without even knowing, when it comes to you achieving something absolutely mental, crazy, in the best possible way, in as little as 10 months time. This is going to be probably the biggest achievement on your spiritual journey. And how you will know what this is? But pay attention, because after this, so first of all, as soon as you become aware of this responsibility, what this is, this extra responsibility that was absolutely becoming nuisance in your life, this burden, responsibility, no baby, no, something that you did not want whatsoever, but it just became a part of your spiritual journey. One way or another, you had to kind of go through this in order to understand how much certain things mean to you. And it's also going to kind of start this process of urgency, where you will just want to hurry up with the specific aspects of your life that have been calling you, calling you for so long. So how you will know what this is? Well, as soon as you become aware of what this burden is, you will see that a couple of days after that moment in time, this is why the spiritual seed, it's already planted. You're giving a birth to this particular creation, which is going to go on for the next 10 months. Your life is about to change. So 2 days after you become aware of this extra responsibility, you will kind of like really find yourself also like kind of realizing on one hand that you need to kind of have a very important discussion and message with somebody that you're going to be worrying about so much. And this is something that you're going to need to sort out. This is something that this is some kind of issue that you are going to need to deal with, and you're going to surprise yourself because it's something that you've been putting off for so long. And at the end of this conversation with that person that you didn't want to talk to, like because you need to sort some kind of problem out, you know, it's going to be absolutely brilliant, the outcome, and you are going to get some kind of advice with something that you would never be able to get advice from anybody else. So somebody who you thought that is going to be vile and horrible when you discuss something with them, it's actually going to turn out to be really, really nice. And this is already where this dimension, new dimension, it's actually taking over. That person is not necessarily nice, but you are just now seeing things in a completely different light. And this is the power of it all, because now you are going to end up with something absolutely invaluable when it comes to you, and when it comes to some kind of question being answered as well, because it's going to lead towards you literally having this remind yourself of this idea that you've had. So this is all going to lead towards you, like so one thing is going to lead to another, and then day after that, for example, you are going to be reminded of this idea. It is all about this realization, what you want to do a while back. It's all about realization of what you want to do. This is not a brand new idea. This is not something that is, oh, I just want to do this now. No, baby, no. Only now you are going to be ready to do what you wanted to do, like about a year ago, when you came across something and someone who inspired you like never before, but you had to move on. You had to move on from that because the time wasn't right. So now this is all going to lead, all this like extra, it's going to start with you identifying extra responsibility, and it's going to end up you remembering still at the beginning of this week, this idea that you had like about a year ago, and it wasn't the right time. So now you're just going to be like, and it's just going to come to you. You're going to wake up and it's just going to come to you. Oh my God, this idea, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. It's not that it all makes sense now. It made sense before, but it just wasn't the right time. You just needed to wait for this moment of completion, which is happening right now. So you're going to be reminded of this idea that you've had. And this is brilliant, because now you're going to become a very kind of, you're going to realize that now you're going to need to go for it. Now it's time to go for it. It's to do with something that you're so passionate about, and the more you're thinking about, the more things that didn't make sense to start with are going to start making sense as well. But you just need to understand to keep things as traditional as you possibly can. I know that this sounds really crazy, but that's an indication that I'm seeing here. The more you keep things traditional here, the easier it's going to be, the less complex is this situation going to be later on. I'm not saying this is going to be complex, but naturally every single thing that we begin with, naturally there are challenges that we need to kind of like unfold along, you know, but so that's normal. If there are no challenges in life, then something is wrong. So this is why am I saying just a reminder to keep things traditional, and do not be surprised when suddenly you will kind of feel also at around the beginning of this week like the spiritual you coming out again, and suddenly again it's going to come to you like something that you didn't do for a while on spiritual terms, like expressing yourself in a certain way. Go for it, do it. Something is going to come to you, something that you used to do spiritually, that you used to express yourself with. That particular thing that is going to come to you completely out of the blue, you have to do it immediately, because at the same time, as soon as you start doing this, you're listening to your soul, you're paying attention to your spirit, and there is going to be such a mind-blowing confirmation which you need at this stage of your life. Okay, like, oh my my God, and it wouldn't happen otherwise whatsoever. Okay, by the time you get to the mid part of this week, it's like just a little bit of disagreement with someone. Listen to me very carefully. I know I said there is someone that you're gonna need to talk to at the beginning of this week that you were worrying about, but when it comes to the mid part of this week, listen to me very carefully, my gorgeous Piscelini, because you are going to find yourself here on an unknown territory. Indeed, on an unknown territory. Okay, and what you need to understand and remember that you are exactly where you need to be, because when you find yourself on an unknown territory, you need to understand that you are exactly where you need to be. You're going to have a little bit of conflict, a little bit of disagreement with somebody, and that particular person is someone silly, someone who is like almost like dead inside, honestly, so it doesn't really matter. It's like a robot, somebody who is never going to understand anything about life, somebody who is like, oh yeah, do as you told type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, somebody who is never going to understand anything about life. But be grateful to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Be grateful to God that you are the way you are, my gorgeous Piscelini, that you understand what this person doesn't understand, for example. But it's going to be like a silly petty agreement with somebody. And that's why I said you're going to find yourself in an unknown territory, but you're going to be exactly where you need to be, because that in itself is going to lead towards you like understanding. And you need a disagreement, you needed this, because now you will fully understand the power of following your own heart. And this is going to lead towards you like understanding, like, you know what I mean, understanding what exactly is shadowing you, what is bringing a dark shadow over your life. But you're also going to clearly understand some kind of restriction, that some kind of a dark and negative restriction is going to be highlighted, that was a kind of preventing you from being decisive when it comes to the life situations where you should be like as decisive as anything. This was making you feel undecisive. So now you're going to clearly understand what do you need to move away from, what's affecting your passion, what do you need to walk away from. But you need to be quick, you need to be clever, you need to be smart, you need to put your point across, and you also need to set the certain boundaries. What else you need to remember is that this is to do with the situation. The more you give, the more you get right now, and that in itself is like kind of like a pretty much so this is all going to lead towards you having a very, very interesting idea, which is going to come to you intuitively. But you would never ever have this interesting idea, mind-blowing idea. You would never ever have this idea unless you know that you are finding yourself on a very, very powerful path, very, very important path, and you need to stay on this path, because this path is going to change your whole life. It's going to make you feel really optimistic, it's going to make you really happy, and it's also, even in financial terms, it's gonna be very, very successful indeed. It's gonna bring a pleasure and happiness you haven't felt in absolute ages, because it's gonna give you the choice and opportunity to live your life the way you want to live your life, through your own passion and through your own eyes. By the time you get to the last part of this week, my gorgeous Piscelini, you know what I mean, there is gonna be a sudden change which you are gonna become aware of. Yes, there is going to be a sudden change. This is really going to surprise you. It's gonna bring just a little bit of chaos, but that's needed in order to become aware of this revelation and sudden insight this is actually bringing. And this sudden insight this is actually bringing, it's like oh my God, it's just basically more about, it's going to remind you this sudden insight that this is bringing, it's going to remind you of the actual how it's now the time to do it's going to remind you of like an importance of doing things that like in your life without waiting for too long. Suddenly this sudden insight is going to remind you that of the fact that people don't live this life forever. Do you know what I mean? We are on this earth for a really short amount of time. We die and then we are reborn somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like something else or someone else, you know. Somehow you're gonna go all deep and you're gonna go all spiritual. So this is what the sudden insight and impact that this is actually going to have on you. This is really going to remind you of your own passion, and it's going to remind you of things that you are passionate about, and it's also going to remind you of something that you are really, really unique about. And this is something that you should take on the next level right now. But it's also going to remind you, or lots of reminding, you're also going to be reminded of like some kind of advice that someone gave you like about 9 or 10 months ago. Some kind of advice that someone gave you, and that advice that someone gave you, you couldn't kind of, it inspired you so much, but you couldn't kind of go for it because it wasn't the right time. You're gonna be reminded of this advice, but you're still not gonna know how you're actually gonna do this. And then a couple of days later, you're going to find yourself in a moment where you're going to look at something, and what you're going to look at, it's going to remind you of your childhood. And once you're reminded of your childhood and things a long time ago, there is the specific point in your childhood where you're going to drift towards. And that particular point in your childhood, what you're going to be reminded of, something really specific. It's going to be like, oh my God, such a breaking point for you, because you will fully understand that there is something that you're going to need to accept, which is not going to happen whatsoever, and it's nothing to do with all this. And when you realize what this is, at that moment in time, something magical is going to happen. You are going to start seeing things in a completely different light, and something that you were worrying about so much by sacrificing, now you're not gonna be able to wait for that moment to manifest whatsoever. Okay, my gorgeous Piscelini, thank you ever so much for watching my videos. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace and light to every single one of you. Sasha Bonasin, psychic medium. I love you. Bye.